Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of our Ubrik EduMarketing series. And this time we have a special guest, a person who's managing a regional level international school network, part of one of the global education firms which is managing around 80 schools across 22 countries. So we are going to look at whatever she is doing and get a deeper introduction as we go on with our interview. But before we do that, let's welcome her on our show. Hey Shelley, welcome on our show, and I'm really excited to have you, right? Because you're the fourth guest, and this is the first person we are interviewing who's coming from a regional level experience, right? When it comes to managing school marketing, so I'm really excited about this. What about you?
This sounds great. I hope I'm fourth and lucky for you as well. But no, very happy to be here. And I'm new to the role as well, so it's been eye-opening, and it's been really interesting to see how the education industry has kind of transformed. Yeah. And I've been in this industry, I think, for 3.5 years now. So it's a short time in any other industry, but in education it seems like it's, you've been here as an expert.
Absolutely. So let's hear from you a lot more as we go along.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, Shelley, so let's begin with a quick round of introduction.
Okay.
Yeah, so where are you from?
So I'm Bengali,
Uh-huh.
but I have been brought up in Delhi.
Okay,
Gurgaon.
interesting.
My dad was in Lagos for about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I have always spent my summer holidays there. So
Okay.
it's a bit of a mixed upbringing. But yeah, I did my entire schooling, college, everything that I remember in Gurgaon.
Interesting. And what brought you to the UAE?
Luck.
Okay, tell us some more.
So I had just finished my master's with Delhi School of Communication, and I was working at a brand agency at the time, and I got a call from my dean. This is 1 year after I've graduated, and she's like, hey, so there's an opportunity in Dubai. Someone's come and is looking for a communications manager. Would you be interested? And I was like, sure. They're like, okay, you need to meet her at this hotel at this time, be there. And I was like, okay. So I went down, and she didn't ask me anything about myself. She met me, she liked me. She said, so are you interested in the role? I said, okay. And I think within a month I was in Dubai.
Oh, okay, that's a crazy journey.
It was very interesting. And I was 23 at the time, and I'm 33 now, so it's easily 10 years.
So what a time to come to Dubai when you're really young and free.
And the funniest thing was, I had no family here, I had no friends here, I had no family friends here, and which is bizarre, to be honest. And I would go to my parents and be like, how? Like, no, everybody has family or friends in Dubai. How did we not have family and friends in Dubai? So it was completely new for me, but it was like, I strongly believe that when you have an opportunity presented to you, you should just grab it and take it without questions.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did.
Fantastic. I mean, that's a very interesting story, and that gets me to my next question. Yeah. So you've been doing a lot of things, maybe marketing, branding, research, communications, a lot of things over your last 14 years of experience. So how did your professional career start, and what really got you to where you are today?
That's an interesting one. So I'd say it's a mix of interest, and it's a mix of complete chance. So when I came to Dubai, the company I was telling you about is Idea, and we used to work for a lot of government platforms in the UAE. So we had our own flagship event, which was called the Asian Business Leadership Forum. So everything I did was surrounded around getting high net worth leaders to kind of come to Dubai. And the basic concept was, it's very easy to get in touch with the West. It's the East that is difficult, because there are cultural differences, there are language differences, and also you need to know people to know people.
Absolutely.
And my boss and mentor at the time, she was very good at knowing people, the right people, and we would kind of get delegations into Dubai. We had done work for the World Government Summit, we had done work for Global Women's Forum, and that just gave me a completely different big picture perspective on what is going on in the world and what people are actually trying to achieve not just with a company, but more on a global scale. And it's a very good, I think, perspective to have when you're so young.
Absolutely.
Because then you don't go into a company with blinders on saying, okay, this is my job, this is what I need to do. It's kind of widening your horizon into what is actually out there. What are leaders trying to achieve? Because it's not always money and fame. It is actually doing something that is meaningful.
Absolutely.
And I think I was exposed to all of that at a very good time.
100%.
I think 5 years in IDEA, we did some work for the BICARES as well, which is, of course, as you know, it's education.
Yes.
And we did fundraising for them. So it was a completely different side of things. Like, I used to manage partnerships and communications. And it was just education as an industry kind of started opening up for me, understanding it opened up for me. And then COVID hit, which I'm sure is the worst time for anybody who's in the events industry. So
Definitely.
it was difficult to kind of sustain. I think we managed to push it as much as we could, and then Fortis just happened to happen at that time. And I joined as a marketing officer, and I was just managing Regent. And I'm the kind of person who, once you get into things, you get into things. Like, you delve deep, you look at reports, you look at numbers, you try and understand, is it impacting sales? Is it impacting? And I'm saying sales right now because that was my understanding of admissions at the time. It was a commodity.
Correct.
But that understanding evolved. Okay, so within a year's time, I was promoted to marketing manager, and because I started looking at it from a broader perspective, I started understanding what people are looking at. So slowly, with my professional skills, the school also grew. We grew together.
Okay, interesting.
And eventually, I was at Fortis. I just completed 3 years at Fortis this year, and I left as deputy head of marketing, which was a very good experience. And I've moved to an even bigger organization with a regional role, which is International Schools Partnership. And again, it's a completely different perspective on things, because you're looking at it from a global, a more international level of how can a group that is so vast, have an impact on a school in the Middle East or in Dubai or in, sitting somewhere in Maldives. So that's the kind of impact that we're having, and it's been absolutely amazing.
I mean, meeting the right people, getting the right inspiration, and also having the curiosity to explore.
Yes.
Because a lot of things in marketing is like, people understand theory, but they never get curious enough to understand the customer, understand how things work,
Correct.
how you can actually make a change. And I think that is what differentiates the progressive marketers from the rest. And I'm glad I'm having this conversation with a progressive marketer like you. And definitely we wish you all the very best in your journey, because you have greater things to achieve.
Thank you.
So I have a set of icebreakers for you. Sure. Yeah. And this is the first time I'm doing this on my interview.
You had to test it on me.
So you are a fun person to test it with.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I'd live in Dubai.
Oh, Dubai, not Switzerland.
No. So many taxes.
Okay. So the second one, if you could have coffee with any iconic figure, who would it be?
So there's a musician I really like.
Okay.
He's a classical musician. There's Ludovico Einaudi. He has such beautiful compositions that, whenever I'm writing something or if I'm working on a campaign, I will only listen to his music and work on it. It gets my creative juices flowing. So if I had to have coffee with someone, it would be him.
So all the marketers who are competing with ISP, this is what you need to do. So what was your favorite subject in school?
Business studies.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense.
It's just, there are some subjects that give you a kick when your balance sheets kind of tally. That was business studies for me.
Absolutely. And, okay, this is an interesting one. If you won $10 million tomorrow, what would you spend it on?
I have had conversations with my husband about, because we've actually gone and bought a lottery ticket to that Abu Dhabi.
Oh, the big ticket.
The big ticket. And we have had walks on the beach saying, if we won this, what would we spend it on? And I have said things like, so 5 million we will travel, 5 million we will spend on a house and like do it up nicely, because you should always have a place to come back to.
Absolutely.
We'll give 1 million to this person because they're so nice, 1 million to family, 1 more. And my husband's like, you realize that this is a million dirhams. It's not, it's not 10 dirhams that you're giving away to people. And I'm like, no, we'll give this much to charity, this much to people, but definitely travel and a house is on the list.
But I agree with you. Everyone does this. Everyone imagines them winning the lottery ticket, yeah?
Absolutely.
And giving it to people, buying the favorite things. And I hope, one of us wins.
One thing I would definitely do is set up a craft store.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, okay. I have an obsession.
Okay. I hope you win it soon. Okay, the next one. If you had to write a book tomorrow, what would you write about?
How to not get bankrupt with a crafts obsession.
Okay, so you're spending quite a lot of money on that.
Okay. I think we all do. Everyone who is obsessed with stationery or arts and craft, I think half their salary in a month anyway goes to that, whether they like it or not.
Okay, so this is also something that you should think about, the way the world is going on. If you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I wouldn't live.
Absolutely.
I can't do that. I mean, I think we're very blessed to be in Dubai, because you have so many different food types that you can explore. I wouldn't settle for one dish. I'm sorry.
Talk about it, because before I moved to Dubai, right, I was in Sri Lanka. So the only thing I've eaten like throughout my life is string hoppers and rice and curry.
Bas.
And I had nothing else. And I never wanted to explore. Yeah. But after I came to Dubai, I had no option. I had to explore. And now I can't go back.
You can't go back. I mean, after you come here, how can you go back to eating string? I mean, all the string hoppers are really good.
Okay, great. So the last question in this, what do you think the world will look like in 5 years from now?
I think it'll look the same, but with better clothes.
Okay.
Where I'm coming from is, you remember this movie Back to the Future?
Yes.
It's a 1985 movie.
Yeah.
They imagined 2015 to be a world with hoverboards. We're in 2024 now. Where are those hoverboards?
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's not to say that progress isn't happening. I'm sure, there's a lot happening in the AI space.
Yeah.
And on a serious note, I never thought that AI would, be a threat to creatives.
100%.
That was something we never imagined, because you always thought that AI would be something that will take over process-driven things, not creativity. So that has been a massive game changer for a lot of people, good and bad, but it forces you to adapt.
Correct.
So I do think the world will look the same. The digital world might look something else completely. We may have a completely other virtual world where we have lives. Like I told you, I have a split personality sometimes.
And also probably having a virtual marketing manager.
Yeah.
We never know. Anyway, yeah, it's an interesting time.
Yeah.
So now getting into the serious stuff again.
Okay.
So did you choose education or was it vice versa? I know this question kind of was repeated a while ago, but I'd like to hear about it again.
Education chose me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't choose education as such because I didn't know what it meant as a market. Mm-hmm. It's a very understated market, I would say. Like even right now when I tell people back home that, I'm in marketing in education, they're like, you work for a school? Like that's the standard answer you will get across. Or you will get other questions like, oh, are you back from school today? And there's this childishness attached with the industry. But it's only when I actually joined that I understood that education as a market is massive. There is a lot. And more than that, I think UAE as a market, Middle East as a market is extremely, extremely competitive. More than a lot of the other regions around the world as well.
Exactly. And with your title, Regional Marketing Manager, it looks a very complex role. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure it has its complexity. So can you just tell us what a typical day in your daily routine would look like?
Well, sometimes every day is different.
Okay.
But typically I have check-ins with each of my marketing managers at the school level. So we have a team structure where we have 9 schools. I manage 5 of them. So I touch base with each of them on a on day-to-day basis. We connect with admissions. So my biggest lookout with admissions is understanding which year groups do we actually need to push for. You can easily put a hoarding out there and say admissions open and expect like 1 million admissions to come through. Yeah. But I believe that, to actually market correctly, you need to be specific. You need to be more understanding of what you need. Do we need more secondary students? Do we need more primary students? What is our pastoral department doing? How do we talk about, the kind of care that we're delivering? Is that something that parents are interested in? What is our voice of customer? Now, marketing historically is always at an ivory tower, not knowing what's happening at the ground level, but your admissions teams, your reception, especially front of house in most schools, will be able to give you an insight into ground reality. So more than anything for me is understanding what is the ground reality of our schools, because each is different. They all have their different set of challenges. They all have their different set of USPs as well.
Definitely.
And unless you listen, it's very difficult to break it down and actually package it in a way that people will actually understand.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a lot of hands-on, experience sharing that's going on. And how do you do it on a daily basis? Like, definitely you have so many schools, to go around and things like that.
It just happens.
It just happens. It's just that it's your trade secret.
No. We just make sure that, I think making the most of time is important. And, people tend to have 1.5 hour, 2 hour meetings with different, and that just goes on and you never have time to do anything.
Correct.
But one thing that I have managed to achieve with my teams is, weekly meetings of 30 to 40 minutes. So we do connect, and it's a strict schedule of what do we need to understand. And it's not like you're not approachable throughout the rest of the, time.
Yeah.
It's just making sure that the time that you spend together has high impact. So you're actually feeding back quality information that can translate into something.
Definitely. So I think if you tend to get caught up in your daily routine with all that comes up, So being hyper focused in what you're doing also helps you operate at maximum productivity.
Although I've never been able to be hyper focused.
Okay.
I mean, as a person, I'm the kind of person who gets their hands into 5 different things at a time.
Okay.
Which I think has helped me as well.
Yeah.
Because if I'm working on something, I will, I reach a point where I'm saying, oh, okay, IB curriculum. That school also has IB curriculum. What I'm using here can be used there. So I'll end up having, you should see my laptop. I have so many tabs open at a time. You'll be like this, I don't know how the system is functioning. It should crash now.
Okay. But multitasking is not easy, and it's, I think, a special skill to have.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that you're doing it so well.
I think there are 2 kinds of people. There are some people who have a very linear approach to thinking, which is great for something that is process driven, where you have to think, okay, what would the next step be? And it's great to have that, because not everybody can do that as well. You think as a flow chart. But for me, it's very mind map. So you have one thing that bursts into 5 different things, and then it kind of goes on. So I think there are different kinds of people who come with different ways of thinking, and I'm the latter.
Interesting. That's all I can say. Yeah. But definitely I like the way you're thinking. Yeah. And I think that is the way for a marketer also to operate, because you can't be only focused on one particular thing at any given time, because marketing is that function that has so many challenges to solve simultaneously. Yeah. And okay, talking about your role a little bit more in depth, what is the biggest challenge that you're facing in your role right now?
That's an interesting question. And I think that also kind of goes back to, what the market looks like. Okay, so let me just back up a bit. Okay, UAE as a whole has 220 schools. If you look at the KHDA reports online and everything, it tells us we have about 365,000 students. Okay, so that's 365,000 students across 220 schools.
Yeah. That
means that you're looking at about 1,600 kids per school.
Yes.
There are some schools that have capacities of 5,000 kids. You have some schools that have 2,000 kids, and we all have, this target to achieve. So, and in addition to that, we now have early childhood centers. There are 260 early childhood centers as well. So you're competing at the lower level, which is your, your primary school, your FS and year 1, up till they're in, 7 years old. And then you're also competing with other schools who have a larger capacity to have students.
Yes.
So I think the biggest challenge for us is actually making sure that we know our USPs and it is what people are looking for as well, and
Correct.
therefore amplifying it even more.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's difficult to say, we have 30% discount, please come in, and you have people coming in. I've always been a strong believer of, if someone has come to you because of a deal, they will leave you for a better deal, because they're not coming to you for what you're worth. And my challenge right now is making sure we are able to tell people what we're worth.
So that's the storytelling part.
Yes.
You have to be really good at your storytelling.
You have to be really good at storytelling, because I think, and that also goes back to understanding who you are as a brand. If you know that you're a brand that stands for sustainability, then let's be a brand that stands for sustainability in every aspect. Let's just talk sustainability. Let's get the Minister of Sustainability to our school. Let's become the example of sustainability in the entire UAE market. On the other hand, you have schools who want to just be everything, which is also fine, because that's what parents are looking for. They are, looking for a school where their kids will just learn to grow up and, be happy.
Correct.
And, be good individuals. You have schools like that. But then that is your USP. And it's about how do you communicate that in the best possible way.
Absolutely.
And tell a story with that. Because, like I said, it's such a competitive market. It's so easy to become commercial. It's so easy to, have this image of, they're just making money. But it's about actually that there are people who care about the kids. Schools, the biggest struggle that marketing has with academics is, they will tell you, we don't want to sell the school. We want to talk about our curriculum. We want to focus on the curriculum. And it's also about understanding that as a marketer. Like, they're not your salespeople.
Correct.
They deliver a service, and that service is sacred because there are kids involved.
Definitely. So I think it becomes very complex, especially in a place like Dubai, because you have to tailor your story to multiple nationalities, multiple needs, and also the social structure, right?
Yes.
A person who's using a Rolls Royce versus a person who's going
Absolutely.
in a Toyota. I mean, there's so much of complexities in this market, and your market is segmented and fragmented and whatnot.
Absolutely, that's so true.
So it becomes so challenging, and I'm really giving it out to all the education marketers who are doing a fantastic job, because unlike any other category, I think this is very, very difficult to kind of approach, because it's not a mass market product where you just go on advertising like Coke. It's something that has a story, that has a very powerful listener on the other side. And also an influence network, which is like friends and family who are also contributing to this decision. So it's a lot of things that marketers
runs a lot on word of mouth. Like,
absolutely.
It can destroy you as well.
Exactly.
It can make you, because like a lot of parents who recommend a school, like, why will they not trust another parent telling you that this is a good school to go to? But at the same time, if a parent tells you that school's horrible, like, my child has been bullied in that particular school, you're gone.
That's it.
That's it for you. So
exactly.
it's a double-edged sword. And I mean, there are so many channels to communicate on.
Correct.
There are so many channels to keep a watch on, to see how do we, what are people saying about us.
Absolutely. So it's not only about, communicating to the audience, but also hearing what other people are saying about your brand and managing that.
I think it's 80% listening, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Like, more than, telling people what we're about, it's about listening from people to understand what we're about.
Correct.
So there are, like, I remember I done a brand building exercise for one of our schools where I looked at across all our competitors, what are people, what are the different schools and what are they talking about? How do they want to portray themselves? Okay, some have competitions. Okay, a lot of them have sporting events. A lot of them have music and performing arts. There are some schools who have brilliant performing arts departments, but they don't have an auditorium in the school. And it doesn't matter, because facilities is not the delivery of curriculum.
100%,
it's always the teachers that kind of add passion, and and they are passionate. Like, I haven't come across a single school where the teachers aren't passionate about their what they're doing, I think that's why they get into the profession in the first place.
Absolutely.
It's about leveraging that and, you know, telling their story about why they do what they do and what do they want for the kids as well.
Absolutely. I think so. That's really, I think that shows the kind of intricacies and the skills that a marketer needs to have in today's market, especially in a competitive market like Dubai.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just moving on, definitely along all these, experiences you've gathered along the way, definitely there should be one big lesson you've learned.
Oh God.
Yeah. And a good one. So please share, if you can, some details about it.
I think that's a I don't know how to answer that, because I think this is an industry where you can't stop learning.
I understand that.
I mean, like all this time, like I was focusing on the British curriculum of, you know, how education is delivered and everything. And then suddenly now in my new role, I'm having to deal with different curriculum. So there's American, there's IB, there is, so it's a different approach, it's a different way of teaching. But if I had to say one major moment in education that has been eye-opening, I'd say it's actually spending time with, you know, with the academics to see how much they have to offer. You know, at Fortis, when I was working with Regent, I was completely based in the school. Okay, and my marketing ideas, like whatever I did for social media campaigns, or how I would want the website to be structured, or our landing pages to be structured, would be completely based on my conversations with the academic team. I do think they appreciated that as well, because they're still in touch with me, so did something right. But I think I learned a lot by just, you know, being on the ground. Now, as I moved up in my career, I obviously moved farther away from what, you know, people had to offer. But I think what stayed with me is how they deliver education, because it's not the same as how I was in school.
Correct.
Like when I was in school, I think the feeling I would get was, okay, this is what you have to study. Read this page. On page 54, you will learn about this chapter, or will talk about this subject. Here is your exam. We used to have Monday tests. Every Monday.
Yeah.
And it was traumatizing on a Sunday because I didn't have the sheets or whatever it was, but that's not the approach anymore.
Yeah.
And it's important to know that. It's important to know that there are schools, and I believe that there is more than one school that does this, that is very, you know, it is very caring. That is very child focused. And that itself has been like a game changer for me, and I think that's the reason why I'm probably able to give inputs where I am right now, is because I did that. Like I was able to see what reality looks like, and that's where you kind of take it forward from.
So I think that's a fantastic lesson. Like, you know, understanding not only your 4 P's or 7 P's of marketing, but also learn about the people who are delivering this. Have a good relationship with them, get insights from them, you know, and get them to also support your marketing journey. Because at the end of the day, marketing is all about, you know, promoting whatever that's being delivered in the classroom.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's an experience that you're delivering, and, you know, conveying that in the form of a, you know, a story or a message or whatever it is. So understanding what exactly is going on there, and those challenges, those values, whatever it comes that way. So it's very important to bridge that gap. And I feel a lot of marketers may also fail there, because if they don't get that right, because we see a lot of marketing institutions also being siloed, right? Marketing function is a separate entity, and then you have the rest of the entities running. So there is a bit of a dislodgement there.
There's a gap.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think education as well as an industry pushes you to bridge that gap across, whether it's academics, admissions, finance, front of house. You have to understand what everybody is doing. Correct. And it's not the same as any other industry. Everyone plays roles that are very overlapping. And also everyone has, you know, an access to the voice of the customer except the marketer. So you have to kind of draw in whatever you can from them.
So yeah, I think we can say that education is an industry where, you know, stakeholder management is over the roof.
It is 100%.
Okay. So moving on, like, we understand the intricacies and the challenges of the industry. So if you are to think about someone who's going to work in the capacity of a marketer or a regional marketing manager like you, what do you think is one of the most important personality traits or a strength that they should come with?
I think they should have empathy more than anything.
Okay.
Okay, see,
That's an interesting one. This is the first time I'm hearing about empathy.
You need to have empathy because, you know, as marketers coming from different industries, you start to desensitize from thinking that what you're working with is a product or a service. You cannot do that here because there are children. You know, you need to think at least 100 times before doing something because you have to think of their safety. You have to think of their care because you're responsible for it. Everyone in that school or in education, whomever in that institution is responsible for children's well-being. Whether curriculum is delivered or not, that's a separate aspect completely. But what you're doing as a marketer will impact that child. I'll give you another example. Like I can very easily say, you know, how do I sell a school to you? If I tell you that, okay, you know, Sujeevan, I have a new program and it will get you, you know, to the Ivy League universities. I'll make sure that your daughter meets with professors from Harvard. Okay, and this is a summer program. You have to give me 15,000 dirhams. But if you, you know, if you enroll right now, I'll give you 12,000 dirhams, which is 1,000 every month for the rest of the year. Now you're thinking, great, that's amazing. Like it will give my daughter for a one-on-one, you know, conversation with a, you know, Harvard University lecturer, and you know, it will give her an edge in her career. And you're thinking there as a parent. And I think these days, parents just want the best for their kids. You know, whether it costs them an arm and a leg, they will still pay for it.
Do it, yeah.
Because they know that it's their child that is, you know, that they want the best for their kids. It's
Absolutely.
just that.
Wow, Shelley, I think you got me emotional for a moment. Because at the end of the day, I have 2 kids. And whatever you said resonates very well with me. Yeah. So if some university or a school is marketing to me, yeah, and me being a parent at the receiving end, I would like to see such genuineness in those messages as well. So I really resonate with that. And definitely, I think I'm going to put empathy as one of the most highly rated skills that an education marketer should have after having this discussion with you. Because as I told you, I didn't really get that insight before. Yeah, but it's a really important skill, I would say, 100%. And you know, you speak so philosophically. Yeah, so I'm also wondering, okay, who's your professional mentor? Somebody has impacted you in the right way. I would also like to know who they are.
So you know, I don't know how to answer this. Like I have to be very careful about who I mention. But you know, I think when you're in anyone's career, you come across people who are bosses, and they are, you know, and you go like, you know, I will never be like that. You know, I will never do these things that he does or she does, and you know, I will be a better manager. And I think that has driven me a lot. Does not mean I have had bad managers, but there are some aspects where I felt that I could do better.
Correct.
If I were put in that position. And I have made mental notes like that. But if you had to ask me, at Fortis we have a director of education, Dr. Neil Hopkin.
Okay.
He ran a senior leadership program with the academic team, and I came across this listing because you have these common platforms where, you know, all these things are posted, and I said, you know what, why is this only for academics? Can I enroll? And I said as a joke. And he said, why not? I said, see, my biggest challenge is, as somebody who is considered as head office or back-end staff, I get kept aside or away from how, you know, a curriculum is delivered, or what is the ethos with which, you know, the academic team is kind of, you know, delivering what they want to deliver. And I said, why are you keeping us away from this? This is information I need to know.
Absolutely.
Not just from a theoretical perspective, but also from a delivery perspective, because we deal with kids every day. We actually interact with them. We talk to them. We understand what their hidden aspirations are, because we have to shoot it on camera, or we want to talk about it. But we are dealing with kids. If your school's motto is well-being, or, you know, say positive education, which is what it is for Fortis. And I, on the back end, you know, use negative words in my conversation with the child, I'm actually doing more disservice to the brand than, you know, promoting it. So it's important for me to understand the ethos behind it. So they created a program for back office staff, which was for marketing and HR as well, where we were trained, and, you know, and I completely give this out to Dr. Hopkin. He took a genuine interest in mentoring me to say that, you know, this is what we do, this is what academics do. And I think when you show an interest in learning, academics love teaching even more. So I say he had a huge role to play in, you know, I think framing my mindset, especially in this industry. And with ISP also, the first thing that drew me to this role was they have senior leadership programs at a global level for all staff. Whether you're working at the headquarters or at the regional office, or you're working at the school level, there are training programs happening all the time. And I think that's important for any organization. Like, not just one person, but having a mentorship program that runs through an organization really tells you a lot about what they think and how they want to make sure that, you know, everybody is, you know, living and breathing the ethos with which they deliver education.
Definitely. And I really wish that all of the marketers around, you know, have a good mentor like this, because mentors in one's life can be a game changer altogether. So they can have a lasting impact and also change the entire way you perceive life and also your career. So I'm glad you found a great mentor.
Definitely.
And okay, since you've been in the education landscape for a while now, how have you seen it evolving from when you started?
I have been here 3 years, 3.5 years. I think you should
But
ask.
still a lot happened.
A lot happened, that's true.
Now we have ChatGPT.
Oh my God, it's changed so many things. I think you should ask somebody who actually works at GEMS to give you a true perspective on this.
Of how it all started.
Yeah, because I think there was a time when, you know, the reason why schools were set up were to make sure that, you know, expats don't go back home. Or, you know, you had families that were living and breathing together and staying together, rather than, you know, the parents working here. And like my husband, he studied in our own English school till I think class 9th.
Okay.
And then his parents sent him off to Bombay to, you know, live with his uncle to finish his 10th, 11th and 12th.
Okay.
He wasn't the only one. There are a lot of families who had to, you know, for whatever reason it was, they studied here a bit and then they were sent back home, whether if it was, you know, it wasn't affordable enough, or, you know, they just felt that the level of education was better. And I think that's pushed educators a lot over here to kind of be better. And it's exploded.
Correct.
It has exploded. In the past 3 years, I think the number of schools that have come up and the different offerings that they have has just expanded exponentially. And now with, you know, there is a plan for even further growth.
Correct.
In the next 3 years, we'll be sitting on 500 schools. We're doubling.
Exactly.
So it's expanding exponentially, and more than anything, I think it's been the market that has changed. The kind of challenges that, you know, I have to work through, it's like, you know, when you're working on a problem or a puzzle, you're not just tinkering at it. You have real estate for community schools has been a huge impact, because you're having people move in and move out because rents are too high.
Yes, that's right.
But people moving means new people coming in. But who are these people coming in? What nationality are they from? How do we tap into that? So it's non-stop.
Exactly.
Then you have, you know, a completely different demographic. You have people who are coming from maybe the more affordable sector. How do you tap into that? What is your school offering? There are schools that have started Mandarin programs because you're expecting more of that nationality coming in.
Correct.
You have English language learning programs for a lot of schools. You have hubs, which, you know, ISP schools have started having inclusion hubs at their schools for, you know, SEN kids who are special needs. And you see schools that are evolving more and more to the needs of the market.
Yeah.
And what I do feel like as a sector, at least UAE is what I can speak for, it has evolved very quickly. Like, it's not like it's taken years and years to develop a new department in your school. They have said, okay, we need to do this now. There is no time to waste. This is the need of the market now. And I think that's how Dubai works. It's fast-paced
100%.
and the schools have kept up with it.
Exactly.
So I would say that's my take on the evolution of schools in the past 3 years.
Fantastic, and that's very insightful. I think Dubai being so proactive in everything they do,
Yeah.
so have the schools been.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what it's in a nutshell. Anyway, fantastic. And we are coming towards the end of the serious questions.
Oh,
So, okay. If there is someone who's looking to join the education marketing fraternity, they're going to start out, what's your advice to these guys?
Just give it a shot.
That's very simple.
It is simple. I mean, see, I think, I've applied for roles in different companies, whether it's, retail or it's tech. It's a lot to comprehend. I think schools that way it's warmer. Like I think when you walk into an education environment, everyone is very open to sharing. Okay, there's no like you can't know this. Everybody will know it. Okay, you have a very open. There's a lot of freedom in your conversations with people, I would say,
Okay.
with your co-workers. And I think you just need to be open to learning. Because see, as education as an industry, when we hire people, the kind of resumes I get are from all over, multiple industries. And it's people who are good with people, how we choose the right kind of people for the role. Like I would go for somebody who has worked in hospitality maybe over somebody who has worked in tech, because I know that this person has had to be at the front end of dealing with people walking into a hotel at 2 o'clock at night and not getting their room, or having to deal with that. So that tolerance for people is a lot higher, and that's how a lot of the schools today will run. Like your front of house is always at their best behavior, or forget behavior, they're always at their best to deal with situations, with difficult
100%.
circumstances. And I think it's just about, if you're good with people, or even open to listening or learning from other people, you'll be perfect for the education sector. Because if you don't have a growth mindset where you're constantly open to learning or finding out new things or exploring, because it is quite, this industry changes year on year, you will be stuck because it's not a product that you're selling.
Absolutely great insights for someone who's looking for a job in education. So guys, now you have to also prepare a demo as to how you are very empathetic and you're showcasing your human skills.
But if you have to work with me,
I'm sure Shelley is going to give you guys a job if you have that mindset. Yeah, but absolutely, I mean, definitely I think that's one of the key traits of an education marketer, because as you said, managing stakeholders, listening to them, understanding their problems, adds a lot of value to what you're doing in day in, day out. Yeah. So now we are coming to a very interesting area, which is the rapid fire round. Okay. This is the first time I'm doing it on my show as well. So this is okay, interesting.
Okay.
So primary marketing challenge. What do you believe is the biggest challenge facing marketing and enrollment professionals today?
Okay.
Adapting to digital marketing trends. B, proving ROI on marketing spend.
Okay.
C, engaging with the target audience effectively.
Okay.
Or keeping up with the competition.
I would say B.
Proving ROI on marketing spend.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
See, do you want me to expand on
Yeah,
that?
of
This has to be done.
Yeah, quickly.
I think there's always a fight between lead generation and brand awareness.
Yeah.
And I think lead generation obviously is quick and easy to say, okay, this gives me value for money.
Correct.
But I'm a strong believer in it has to go parallelly. Like unless you have brand awareness, you're not going to keep long-term, top of mind recall for your brand. So I think both is important, but because marketing itself is a very new department to the education sector, that understanding is not always there.
Absolutely.
And you don't always have ready examples to pull out and, say this is a case study. It's not there. You are the case study.
Yeah. Wonderful. So second question, most valuable marketing tool. In your opinion, which tool or platform is most valuable for education marketing professionals? Social media platforms, CRM software, content management systems, data analytical tools.
CRM software.
Okay, that's, I know why it's your favorite, okay. All right, then the third one, key factor in enrollment success.
Okay.
Personalized communication,
Okay.
competitive pricing,
Okay.
strong brand reputation,
Okay.
or is it innovative program offerings?
Can
Tough
I
one.
pick more than one?
Yeah, why not?
A, C, and D.
A, C, and D. Personalized communication, strong brand reputation, and innovative program offerings.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, of course, it has to be a competition.
It does.
Yeah, yeah. But if you have to pick one out of that, the strongest one, what do you think is the most important factor?
Brand reputation for me.
Brand reputation.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew you'd pick that. Okay.
I was trying to be a bit diplomatic.
Okay. So, preferred professional development opportunity.
Okay.
Industry conference and seminars,
Okay.
online courses and webinars, networking events,
Okay.
mentorship programs.
Mentorship programs.
Why is that?
I explained it to you.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
did.
question.
But industry conferences, webinars, isn't that a thing, you know, a way you keep updated with whatever is going
See,
on?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, while that's great, you have to be in that moment open to understanding and absorbing what's around you.
Yeah.
Right? Now, in a mentorship program, somebody is actually interested and invested in making sure that you succeed.
Correct.
And I think that makes the difference.
Okay, you got a good point. And I'm not supposed to contest you on this, okay? Okay. Okay, the next question. Insight into future trends.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking ahead, what trend do you think will have the greatest impact on education marketing in the next 5 years? AI and automation, personalization and customization, virtual reality and augmented reality in education,
Okay.
sustainability and CSR,
I would say A.
artificial
AI.
intelligence and automation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a game changer for any industry right now.
yeah, exactly.
I think there's some schools globally also that have either banned it completely or they have opened it up completely. So you have to, it's like they're picking sides. But
Correct.
I think this is something that's inevitable. It will come through. You can't control it. It's like, you know, a pipe that's about to burst. You can't hold it. It's going to come.
Absolutely.
You just need to be prepared with how are you going to deal with it.
Correct. Are we going to lose our jobs? We never know.
See, I think while you know things like ChatGPT are great, like I use it, and it's just made my work faster.
Yeah,
But I still think you need somebody to be able to think and
That's right.
ask the right questions.
That's right.
I think if anything, it's made people better managers because
100%.
their briefs are more precise. They know what they're forced to know what they want.
correct. I think it has helped people operate a lot more faster
Yeah.
in terms of get structures into your thinking.
Yeah.
And all that, but definitely it needs the human mind to kind of, you know, take the final call. And that's being proven and again, a lot of things. So fantastic. I think we have come to the conclusion of our interview.
Okay.
So I've been asking you a lot of questions so far. Do you have any questions for me?
Should I, start a rapid fire question?
Oh no, not again.
I think what I'd like to understand from you is how is it different for you? Like you've seen the education sector, grow quite a bit. I mean, Ubrik as a brand has been in this space for a very long time. You've been with universities, you've been with, schools as well. So how have you felt that the industry has changed?
Okay, the industry is changing in terms of competition, definitely. Yeah. But what we have seen is that a lot of people still stand in the common ground. Yeah, they're not differentiating themselves. They aren't telling their stories really well. Yeah. As you said, there is a lot of changes in the way education is delivered in the classroom.
Yeah.
But the way the story is being told has not changed a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, a majority of them are still there. So what we feel is that the storytelling aspect and also the marketing aspect has to change in line with what's going on in the classroom.
Yeah.
And we see that there is a big gap there to date. Yeah, and it's becoming even more competitive as we speak.
Yeah.
Because Dubai has very ambitious goals in terms of education,
Absolutely.
in terms of population. So with all these things, is going to be an influx of people from different parts of the world. And how ready are we to tap into that potential?
Absolutely.
There are more new players coming in now. Global players like your brand are entering the market. There will be more players coming into the market. So how do we keep up with this competition? So marketing should also equally evolve as much as your academic sector is evolving, and I think that is one of the things I've seen. Being here for the last 1.5 years, that's all. But definitely speaking about the experiences that Ubrik shares, right? They have experience of almost 14-15 years in this market, and these are the stories that I've heard, and I've also experienced firsthand when speaking to people. I hope.
No, absolutely, that's true. And see, also another thing that I've realized also at an ISP level, because we've got offices across different regions, is this is the most competitive market out there, and it's about how do you keep up with it.
100%.
And I completely agree with you on those points.
100%. So guys, thank you for being very patient and watching us throughout. So we hope you enjoyed today's show. And Shelley, to be honest, you've been a very enthusiastic guest, I would say. And I really loved having this conversation with you. And we look forward to having more sessions like this, because I know there is a lot more we can speak about.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Shelley. Okay guys, so see you soon in yet another episode with another interesting guest. Take care. Bye-bye.